So, before we begin, you need to be warned that if you decide to build your own StarCraft 1 campaign mission, it is very cool. However, you will need to spend at least 3 hours building it, even with everything I say to you. It will still take a lot of trial and error. So, if you are not prepared to waste 3 hours, I suggest you do not proceed. However, if you do wish to, you are dedicated to building your StarCraft mission, here is the best way to do it, and I will try to teach you how to actually build it. So we will be building it in SCM Draft 2.0, the best StarCraft map editor. So download that if you don't have it already, and let's begin. So first off, you use that button to undo an action that you did, but we'll get on that later. In order to select a map, you go File and New File. Here is where you select how big the map, how big is the map. Those are the default options. Me personally, I prefer to go for 192 at both, but that's just a personal preference. Now here you select what main type your map you want to be. So for instance, you go Ash World, that's basically Char, the Zerg homeworld. In this case, I went for jungle and dirt. Now you don't need to worry about those triggers, those are only if you want to build a PvP map, but we don't want to do that. It's way easier, but now we don't want that. So go ahead and try everything out, see what you want, and then once you select what map you want from that menu, here these doodads, you basically decorate your map with all these options. I suggest trying them all out, and these are basically to make your map pretty, so I didn't really bother making it good here. I just show you how you can do it. It is very easy and intuitive to decorate a map, so I didn't really waste time with it. But yeah, you probably should make more than what I'm doing right now. Don't do that one, just to show you the elements. So yeah, basically decorate your map, that's the first step. Here you can place different types of terrain, for example water, obviously you cannot pass through there with ground units, and these are just more extensive ways to decorate your map, like the grass. Some you can build on top, some you cannot. Here we have the players, but we'll get onto that later. Now here you go scenario and forces, and here you have the forces. Now for the first one, you need to insert the name of the coalition. So for example UED, you want to put that in there, and then the opposing forces name, whatever you want, whatever lore you decide to make. Then you're going to want to split the players. So in this case we're building a co-op mission, so basically you and your friend against some AIs. So we're gonna leave 2 players in the first force, which is going to be the player force, the force that we play as, and we're gonna drag and drop the other players / AIs into force 2, which is going to be the opposing force. Now we're gonna go to map properties and do exactly what I just told you. So player 1 is going to be human. That's going, for example, to be me. You choose the race, Terran, Proto, Zerg, whatever. You can choose the color. And here is basically your friend that you're going to be completing the mission with. You can choose his race or let him choose it himself. And here I recommend you go for 3 AIs as your opponent. So player 3 is going to be computer, player 4 computer, and player 5 computer. And you can select the race. However, to keep it simple, we're just going to put them all on Zerg. I did not bother choosing their color, you can definitely go ahead and do that. Now if you look up, you will see map, that is the name of the mission. So go ahead and customize your mission. I put it something very historical anyway. And here is the description. You can basically do a rundown of the lore here that you decide to do for your mission. I didn't really bother, but you definitely should. Here are the forces, you can clearly see there. Player 1 human, player 2 human, player 3 computer, 4 computer, 5 computer, and the others don't matter because we will not be giving them start positions. Do not worry about what you see here. You don't need that for now. Your brain will explode if you try to figure out what's there. Trust me, I've been there. Now we're gonna start with the player start location. So we want to go to units, neutral, and start locations. Yeah. So go ahead and make sure that player 1 is selected over there and place a start location. Then select for player 2 and place another start location. The white one is going to be the first player's start location, and the yellow one is going to be the second player's start location. Right. Now we're gonna select player 1. I kind of goofed it up a bit here. Yeah, so you want to make sure that when you change players you don't have anything selected, because if you do then they will switch forces. I kind of show that here, but here we go. So you're going to want to go very intuitive, make sure player 1 is selected, which is the Terran player, and go ahead and build him a base with Terran, units, Terran, and buildings. Just build him a base. Now obviously you should probably do something more complicated than what I'm doing here. This is just to show you the tools, so just go ahead and do whatever you want, but this is how you do it. Just build him a base, for the first player that you will be controlling. Then
yes sir, orders gathered.
and here is how you basically put minerals. So you go neutral, resources, and mineral field type 1 for instance, and you just put them down. Now, and you also put the geysers. Now you want to make sure that the minerals actually belong to the player that is supposed to mine them. Otherwise the player that actually owns the minerals will have visions of them, so they will see them. So you want to make sure that the minerals belong to the player that is supposed to mine them. Now here we're just gonna build a base for the Protoss player, which is going to be the second player control. So this is basically going to be your friend, which you're going to play the mission with. You can obviously do a solo campaign mission, but I don't find that to be as fun. It's obviously simpler, but I just like to I only like to build co-op missions. So, and obviously going to give resources to respective players and geysers, making sure that the player actually owns the minerals. Gonna give some units to the Protoss player. Yeah, just doing in your journey. Now, here you can decorate your map with high ground, and in a minute here we'll get to so let's say you want a high ground, right? And you want players to have access to that high ground. So how do players get access to the high ground? Well, you probably build them a ramp. Yeah, so ground units can get up to the high ground. So you need a ramp. Now ramps are located under Dudas and Cliff. So what you do now is you build a straight line using the high ground, right? And then you select a cliff, you hover it over the fucking high ground, and then with your page down arrow, you scroll until you find something like this that is green, mostly green, and then you hit click. That will place a ramp, and the green squares indicate that it does kind of match, and units will be able to use it in order to access the high ground. So yeah, just I'm really in a hurry here because I don't want to make this video very long. It's already quite long, and this is, as I've said, the simplest part. So, but yeah, just go ahead and decorate your map however you wish. If you want to build a defense mission, ramps are kind of integral. Now here we're gonna select the start locations for the enemy AIs. Now I goofed up a bit here, and again I forgot to switch players when I selected the start locations, so you're gonna see me struggling a bit here. uh, yeah, it's way simpler than this. I'm just a buffoon here. Just make sure that when you place a start location, the correct player is selected, because whichever player is selected, the things that you place will go to him. I think I figured it out here. And now we're gonna build some bases, but again I goofed up here because I built the base for the player, for the purple player, butchered that one, but I'm going to fix it in like 30 seconds. I'm going to even show you how. So here I realized uh, I did not realize it here. Here I realized. So what you're gonna do, very simple, you just select literally everything like so, and then you go to player, the correct player, so player 3. Now this base, it belongs to the green player, right? And now I make sure to select player 5, which is going to be the correct one, and build him a base. You do have an enemy base, so I don't know, it might be worth building one. Again, depends really on what you want to do. Here I'm still I fumbled here a bit, but I got it in the end. Just build them some starter bases. Obviously you want to make the bases that can actually defend the base. This is just to show you. Obviously you should put minerals and a bunch of drones at these bases. That is going to be integral later for the triggers. Be prepared for that one, because that's the longest part. Now again, you can see I placed the minerals, but if you look on the minimap, they actually belong to the purple player. So the purple player actually has vision of these minerals. So to fix that, you select the minerals, then you click player 3, and they will switch to player 3. You will get the hang of it after a few hours of practicing, so don't worry about this. um, right, so here I showcased that this area, they go to the player that you have selected when you placed them. So for example, here I switched them to player 4, now I switch them to player 1. Very simple. So if you want to dabble in some hero units, I definitely recommend you do. That's how you do it. And here, so you ignore this. You go, if you want to save the mission, you go File, Save As. Then you need to find the folder where you have selected STARCRAFT, right? So you go STARCRAFT, Maps, Campaign, and you save it here. You give it a name so that you can find it and actually select it. I go Test. Click the folder that you selected, Campaign. Double click that. Then scroll down and find the mission. Remember when I named it Test. And here you can see the things that you wrote. So everything that you wrote will come into play here. Now I don't have a friend, so I will be showing you how it looks by just me. Now if you build a base for a player but the player doesn't actually join, the base will not spawn, so don't worry about that. Yeah. Now we did not do a mission briefing. That requires an episode on its own. Pretty complicated to do a mission briefing. The next episode is probably going to be that. Yeah. But anyway, this was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one, which is probably going to be about the mission briefing.